Grumpy man with me tonight.
Is that how you're going to introduce me from now on?
No, just for this because we're talking about Pokemon, and you have opinions on Pokemon past Gen 1.
Yes, we're on the 2nd gen now.
We're starting Gen 2. Hello, Fox. Hello, Wolfie. Hello, Das. Hi, everybody. People are here already because people like Spook's opinions. And I'm gonna keep continuing working, so you're gonna have some nice angsty stuff to listen to in the background of me working on this some more. We got as you can see, we got the body actually like made and shaped and stuff. We started with a cube yesterday. This was literally nothing yesterday, and now it is this. It needs loads of refining still, but it's a decent base at least. So I'm probably going to be doing especially a lot with the face, I think. But yeah, while I'm doing that, Spook is going to be talking about his Pokemon opinions, which are up there because Spook loves a little spreadsheet. So we're actually borrowing a spreadsheet from one Austin John Plays.
Yes, I'm sorry to have to say this on stream, but I found out that Blue has cheated on me.
I found someone who makes better spreadsheets. I'm sorry. His spreadsheets have images in. I'm sorry.
Just because he no-lives Pokemon and has dedicated too much time into this does not mean that I would not be capable of doing it. I just can't be bothered.
No, that's valid. That's very valid. Which is why we're borrowing Austin's work. It's publicly available for anybody interested. Basically, Austin John Plays made a spreadsheet to help people track their living dexes in Pokemon Home, if you're the kind of person who does that kind of thing. There's loads of fancy pages for all the different types of decks you can do. There's living form decks, there's living light decks, there's living final decks, and so on and so forth for the different types. And it put images in, and as you can see, there's a little tiny window up there. I guess you'll probably have to open the stream on your side, hun, because my little stream preview window doesn't really do justice onto how legible it actually is. So yes, old man yells at Pokemon. And that is going to be the topic of conversation tonight.
Okay, so I'm just messing with these little bits.
Yeah, Spook's just getting his formatting in order.
Look at that. Got bigger pictures now.
There you go. We like pictures.
People work better with pictures.
Yes, they're very visual. Right. I probably need to divide this.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Hi, Rex.
So
nice to have you in here.
I was looking through. I don't know if I'm going to last the whole night, but I will try and last as long as I can.
I told you if you're feeling too tired, you don't have to do this. But
I am the co-host.
You said you were wanted to, but I am insisting. If you are too tired, you do not have to do this.
No, I do. It's now part of my job.
No, it's literally not. It's literally part of my job. This is my job, not yours.
You are my job.
Thank you.
I will work you.
What?
I am forklift certified.
Sorry, ladies, he's not single. Ow! Posture check.
But when I open this dex up, even though it's a living dex, they still have some of these alternate forms, so I feel like I must address those first before we move on to the blockbuster.
We skipped over a couple of the forms.
Right. We come to these two first. Rattata and Raticate. I am going to need some information here, Blue, because I am very behind. Why are they now black?
They are black because they are part dark type.
Okay.
And they are slightly more embracing the concept of the sort of stereotype of rats and thieves. So their dexes talk a lot more about how they steal things and steal food, especially. Hence why they have these long tufts that look like a little moustache. It's meant to be like a little thief moustache. And the Raticate is so chunky because it's a little bit mob bossy-esque in that it commands all of the little thiefy Rattatas to steal all the food for it and bring it tons and tons of food. And that's just the general summary. That's from memory as well. That's not from looking it up on the wiki.
Okay. I don't know how to feel about the moustache. It feels a little too on the nose, no pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll give it a pass. I'll give it a pass.
It gets a pass, okay? Not like I'd change it.
No,
I'll be back soon.
like,
Excellent.
It is only a small thing, so I'll give that a pass.
It's based in the Alola region, which is also partly a reference to the fact that rats are an invasive species in Hawaii. They were introduced because they were stowed away on the various ships that went to Hawaii, but the people who were busy discovering and going over it, and the rats became a problem because obviously they then started to compete with the local wildlife, stealing all of their food. Hence why they chose to make an Alolan Rattata as opposed to making a new Pokemon to fill that niche. It's literally a reference to the fact that rats came from another country. So that's what that's also referencing.
What the fuck is that?
That is an Alolan Raichu, and I can't even begin to explain that. Loxton literally had to do like a 20-minute video to explain it. And I honestly don't think any explanation I could give you would really make you feel any better about it. It is part psychic type, and it surfs on its tail. It floats above the ground using its tail like a surfboard. There it goes.
Alright, that was a simple one.
Yep. Like, there is a reason why it has, like, psychic powers, which Loxton would explain a lot better than me. I don't know, just because it has a reason doesn't really make it a good reason, and also there's something to do with pancakes, which is also unclear.
I don't like any of what you just said. Like,
Valid.
first off, when I looked at it at first, I thought you were going to tell me it was like a water type, and I was like, okay, it's kind of weird to have a water electric type, and then it's like, no, it's not water type, it just surfs for gimmicks. Because there was that surfing Pikachu thing many moons ago.
Yes, because it hovers above the ground. I mean, yes, it can surf over the water, but it also just surfs over the ground. It floats. It's psychic.
Moving on.
Okay.
Sandshrew and Sandslash. Now,
Yes.
I really like base Sandshrew and Sandslash. I really like them as Pokemon.
I like them a lot as
I don't know
well.
why they just really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
I always liked them as a ground type.
I like them a lot as well.
So what is with these two?
They are Arctic. Right, Arctic shrews. So
This
they
must be
are.
like an igloo.
Yep, they are ice type. So instead of Sandshrew's pattern being based off bricks and clay bricks, which would be ground, it's based off snow bricks on an igloo. So he is a little igloo. And
Just
then
ice type?
ice type, base ice type for Sandshrew, and then Sandslash is Alolan Sandslash is ice steel. Because it needs steel claws in order to break through the ice. They're also slightly hooked, like ice picks.
Okay, that's kind
So
of
I like those two. I like those two.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay. They get a pass. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Based off Arctic shrews.
And then we've got Vulpix. Has Vulpix been painted with the same brush?
Yes, very similar. They're both from literally the same zone in the game. I believe they are version exclusives. In Moon, you get Alolan Vulpix. In Sun, you get the Alolan Sandshrew in the same area. Literally just, it lives in the Arctic area based off Arctic foxes. They are ice type, and Vulpix, I believe Ninetales gets the secondary typing, I think it was fairy, or did they actually give it the psychic typing that it deserves?
I agree with Dash there. Sandslash was one of my favourite early little guys. Yeah, I don't think I had it on like the very first playthrough, but there was a playthrough where one popped up on my screen, and I was like, I really like the look of this Sandshrew. I'm going to catch it, and then it just became part of one of my teams.
Same.
Yeah,
I like Sandshrew and Sandslash. They're both like undersung heroes. I think I was quite pleased with their alternate form.
Yeah,
I think they're quite cool. Yeah, Alolan Ninetales got given the fairy secondary typing, not the psychic, which I think is to do with a nature spirit that it's meant to partially represent, but it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Okay, don't know about the fairy type, not specifically because it's fairy, but I'm noticing a theme here of like we have a base form with a base element, and then the evolution has to then have two. I don't know if there's necessarily a need for that all the time.
I felt like a lot of modern day Pokemon have secondary typings. It's not very common.
Yeah, there is a slight ridge, isn't there?
Yes, it is, because it's a little igloo hut.
With the little igloo head, yeah, it's quite cool, quite cute.
That's why when Sword and Shield came out, people were like shocked that the starters didn't get a dual typing, because it had like people were just like, that's just not how Pokemon is, and they were like, this old chestnut. We talked about this one already.
We did cover this, didn't we?
We did talk about this one.
This is because they have this kind of yellowing hair.
Literally, Google Pele's hair. Because that is what that is based off. Pele's hair. It is strands of, essentially, a little bit like fiberglass, strands of glass and stuff that is formed around volcanoes. So these Diglets and Dugtrios are found around volcanoes, and they've basically just collected these strands of hair, and then of course, because it's called Pele's hair, they've taken the pun and been like, it's hair, so it's styled because it's styled like hair because it's hair, haha.
The reason why I'm immediately turned off from these ones is A, it looks too stylized that it doesn't look like it's based on a natural thing. It literally just looks like
hair,
put a wig on a Diglett. And B, why do we need another Diglett? Does it have a different type?
I believe it gains steel typing because of the addition of the Pele's hair. I don't know why they decided that glass must be steel.
I would approve of them if they were like a common pet style Pokemon. Common pet style?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Common pet style Pokemon? Well, like a cat or a dog? Or...
I think my problem with Diglett was when people went, they're supposed to be moles, and I'm like, they look nothing like moles. We literally got a mole Pokemon in another generation that actually looks like a mole.
Sorry, they don't... not meshing.
I mean, yeah.
Just looks a bit...
I mean, to be fair, you've written that you would have changed base Dugtrio, so...
I wanted to change them just so that they actually had, like, a more definitive body. Like, I don't mind the idea that they're based on moles, but, you know, give them, like, mole feet or something, or somebody must know what the bottom of things look like.
Yes.
After all this time. Like how people dress up Pikachus, etc. Oh, right, yeah, like if it's like, this is my Dugtrio and I put hair on it. Yeah, I get that.
Right, yeah, because there's literally
immensely.
that poodle Pokemon that has different hairstyles, literally because it's based off a poodle, and that's what people do for poodles.
Yeah, I would still hate them for it, because I would like, you've made a Dugtrio look dumber, but I would accept that that is a thing that they would do, like putting a jacket on it.
Yeah.
I would judge them too, but it makes sense. Yeah, 100%. Okay, now, what the hell is going on here?
I don't know why Meowth is like the one, but yeah, Meowth I think is the actually the only Pokemon to have been given multiple regional variants, which I'm going to assume is because there are essentially lots of regional variants of cats in real life. You know, that's where all of the different species of cats come from all the different countries. So yeah, the Galarian Meowth is part dark type, and they're I don't know, I assume it's due to colonization again, but apparently they're based slightly off like poncy rich people cats of like a little, funny enough, a little bit like Sadie, very fluffy round faces.
Because from what I'm seeing, that looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
There is no effort that has been put into changing that from the one above to the one below. They are. You could have just taken a Meowth in a pose and just hue slided that.
Yep. It does have a steel type. Also, steel type is most likely due to the glass being fiberglass turned to carbon fiber, which is strong as steel. So that's the steel typing.
Yeah, I'm not. What is this one then?
So that Meowth, being from Galar, is apparently based off the fact that it's based off Vikings, would you believe? And the fact that Vikings brought over some of their cats, the sort of Norwegian forest cats, which are obviously very sort of bristly and these dark tabby kind of colours. And you'll see this in a sec. Alolan Meowth got an Alolan Persian. Galarian Meowth did not get a Galarian Persian. It got an alternate evolution instead. Galarian Meowth.
I feel I need to see them.
Okay, so that's down. That'll be down in the Sun and Moons section. It's called Berserker because it's based again off a Viking. So it's based off a Viking Berserker. I'm going to merge these. Center. I love Berserker personally as a little Viking boy. I can understand that.
Any idea what number it is?
I do not. It's Sun and Moon, so you gotta scroll a lot. You'd probably be better off googling it, but obviously you'd have to open it in another window. Berserker. So based off a Viking Berserker because the Vikings brought their cats with them to England. And that's mostly it.
Huh. It's weird.
Yeah? Do you like that one a little bit more?
It.
Yeah, you like that a little bit more than a Alolan one? I definitely...
I feel like I shouldn't like it, but I don't know.
I do. I like it more than Alolan. The goddamn flies in this goddamn flat!
Not a fly, it's like a little gnat thing. Yeah, I can't put my finger on it, but I'm really in the middle of it, but I can't find a legitimate reason to say I shouldn't like it.
Yeah, is this one of those things where your instinctive thing of Gen 1 did it better is actually battling with...
It's my nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's my nostalgia that's saying you shouldn't like it, but I'm like, I can't think of a legitimate reason to not like it, so I'm going to give them a pass. Alolan one can fuck off. That's just... To me, that is... No effort has been put into that. You have just recoloured...
Yeah. Alolan one, I think, is why Berserker is nice, because it's much better in comparison.
So look at that Persian. Like what? All you've done is given it a round head and changed the colour.
Yeah,
that
even when it was revealed, people weren't really a fan of it. People did kind of shit on it, and I think that's understandable. It does feel a bit.
I mean, it's weird because I said that I would have preferred Meowth to have like more of a cat-like body to it, and then they've gone and done the other way around for Persian and just given it a big fat head. It's like, does that look intimidating or cute or cuddly or like something that you'd like running around your house? Not really. It looks like Garfield.
Yep.
But without the lasagna. Anyway. Now then. Look.
Okay. Ah, the boy.
The boy.
The boy.
This is a special one. Hang
the
on,
boy.
Let's read up on chat. Just a fun little Alolan one, I think, is why Berserker is nice.
That's what I said.
Better than comparison. It's A to B.
A to B, his face is all swollen.
Yeah, it does look. I just think it's crap. I've looked at it a few times now, and I'm like, it's just crap. But right, go over this Growlithe Arcanine thing, because this was something that you were so unbelievably hyped about when it first was announced.
Yeah. Obviously, they revealed the new Growlithe before the new Arcanine, so I was very excited for a new Arcanine. I think I've said it a few times on the stream at this point, so people know I do still prefer base Arcanine, but I don't hate the new one. It's just if someone asks me, you know, which one is your favorite, I'm like, it's still Base Arcanine, and Base Arcanine is my favorite Pokemon, just straight up, because I like the big dog boy. That's why he's irredeemable on the stream.
So
the reason,
why?
the reason behind this is it's essentially a slightly more accurate iteration of what original Arcanine is based on.
Okay.
So Arcanine is based on these old like foo dog statues that would be guardians. They were sort of this sort of like lion dog kind of thing, and they are meant to be sort of like the equivalent of gargoyles here over in Europe, of like they would guard and sort of try to scare people away from sacred places and protect them from demons and stuff. So they were guard dogs, magical guard dogs made of stone. So the Hisuian, Growlithe, and Arcanine, being from in the past, are more true to these ancient origins of Arcanine and gain these rock type for this reason. So they have their fur is like rock hard, and they get little rock hats. And it's why he goes sort of like black instead of cream. Again, I still prefer the original. I think that's easy for me to say, because literally one of the reasons I love Arcanine is because he's big and fluffy, and when it's like, okay, it's Arcanine, but now he's made of rock, I'm like, oh, so he's no longer soft and fluffy now.
I was following you on most of it, and I did like it, but I don't like the rock typing. That to me doesn't make sense. Like, we have made statues of them, but that did not mean that they were statues. If anything, I would imagine that having it be part dragon type would make more sense if it's meant to be like ancient, mythical, sort of legendary status.
God, that would have been so cool.
That to me would have made more sense. Like that's.
Could you imagine a dragon type Arcanine?
That's like
so
saying
cool.
that, like, imagine if you said like that you saw how good something was, so you made ice statues of it, so it's ice type. It's like, right, but the thing itself wasn't ice. It was a living, you know, like if there was like Bigfoot walking around, it's like, well, someone, you know, then said, well, I've seen Bigfoot and I'm an artist, so I'm going to carve it out of ice. It's like, right, but Bigfoot itself, there's no reason why that should be ice type.
Yeah.
You've just made a nice statue of it and then gone, well, these two things are now linked. So I don't like the rock typing. I quite like that Growlithe.
The Growlithe's very
I like
cute.
the Growlithe. The Arcanine, I'm not seeing the connection as much, because I'm noticing from a lot of these pictures of these dogs, the statues that they've done, there's a lot of rounded imagery. Like, very consistently, it has very rounded, like, what I would assume is the hair of the lion's mane.
hair tufts.
And then the Arcanine, there is very little round on that. It has this enormous mane down here.
Yeah, the little like
couple at the
yeah,
back.
the little mane on its body, I'm not sure about. I mean, if you look at the tail and the wisps coming off its feet, they are more rounded in comparison to old Arcanine.
Yes, I get those, but it's just this main head bit of like, I'm not seeing that, and I am looking for it, but I'm not seeing anywhere where these manes are kind of pronounced as being long, flowing, fluffy. In fact, there doesn't appear to be much of a mane on these old lions anyway. Well, here's some with a mane. I don't know if they'll be able to see it on stream from what I'm looking at. I mean,
they've got slightly.
But even still, they're very rounded. So, I'm gonna say change. They get a pass, but they get a change.
I think that is how I feel about Hisuian. Like, the Growlithe I think is fine, but I think the Hisuian Arcanine is one of those ones where in my brain I'm like, it's close, but it's not quite there.
So, rock type doesn't make sense to me. And that's all I'm going to put for the Growlithe. But then for this one, colouring is inconsistent. For no feasible reason that I can see. I can't see a feasible reason. And
well, the reason for that is because it's meant to be more sort of the actual rocky part of it.
But again, it's not a rock. It's based on a creature. They've just made it out of rock.
Yeah, well,
you know.
In Hisuian Arcanine, slightly different due to volcanic activity. Grey fur is made out of igneous rock components. Cheek, mane, and ankle fur form into curls. Has a large horn in the centre of its head. Mane is curled into lumps. That's literally just a description.
I'm gonna put in maybe dragon type because I don't know, dragon type because I mean, as you know, Arcanine was originally apparently like one of the legendary Pokemon.
Well,
like
that
way,
is
way back
literally
in the-
its.
It's called a legendary Pokemon.
That's its definition, yeah. And while there isn't technically a legendary type, it's dragon. You know.
Yeah.
It's dragon. You know.
Dragon is that kind of standout one.
If you look at our list of legendary Pokemon, the predominant type is dragon. Dragon is, for the long time, the god tier Pokemon type because they had to add in fairy to nerf it.
Yeah. So, I would. I honestly, if you said to me that was like, I don't even know if I'd go as far as saying like maybe the Growlithe to be like Fire Dragon. I don't know because it's an old Pokemon. It's from an ancient era when Dragon, I would imagine, and Magic is probably more predominant.
And I think it makes sense for the game as well because bringing up the legendaries again, Diamond and Pearl had loads of legendaries, and Hisui is ancient Sinnoh, which is where Diamond and Pearl is based. So, you know, Dialga and Palkia are both part dragon. Giratina is part dragon. They're the legendaries of the region. So if you want to have a legendary Pokemon in the form of Growlithe and Arcanine, it would make sense for them to also have the dragon type because it's literally basically the legendary type.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to go with them. I will put a change on those and they would fit into my world. Where are we going to next? Who's the next one? Geodude.
The dude!
So go over this one, mate. What's this Geodude's thing?
Magnetic iron filings.
Okay.
Is literally just the long and short of it.
And that's why he looks a little bit like a taser type thing?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a taser combined, I think, again, because we had this before with another Pokemon, which was a bug that we talked about briefly. Taser combined with a railgun, it shoots boulders out of it. Just, I think, to make it different. Instead of being part rock, part ground, I think a lot of people actually forget that Geodude is part ground. It's part rock, part electric, because Pokemon considers magnets to be an electric thing. Look at Magnemite. So it's got magnetic iron filings. That's literally the short version. You could probably go in a bit more, but that's literally it.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'd probably give that Geodude a direct pass as well because that gives it a reason to be able to float.
Yeah, really? Okay, I think that's the first one where we've had a new iteration top the old iteration.
It makes more sense in a way. So yeah,
add
I'd
in
give
a
it that. I'm a little bit on the fence about Golem. Like, I get what they were going for, it just seems a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah?
So I don't know whether I'd put that as a change and just put it as make a tad more subtle.
I might move this.
Like, I get that it's Pokemon and they are trying to make it like it's a creature kind of thing, but it's just a little bit. It looks almost like a knockoff toy. Someone made a. It's not Golem, it's like Titan or something, or
okay.
Golem, and then they put that toy out there. Like, it's Pokemon. There you go. No one gives a shit. Like, it's just a tad. Like, I like these iron filings on its stomach, where it's just kind of a mishmash. That's how I would picture magnetic filings.
Yeah.
They don't form a, structure kind of thing. We have Golem at home. Yeah, that kind of air to it.
Yeah.
Okay, now, are Hasbro suing?
No, because they would have to sue Scotland. Because that's where it comes from.
Why not?
Because
Galar got real money anyway.
Galar is obviously Great Britain, and Scotland's national animal is the unicorn.
Scotland's a weird country.
Yep.
Okay.
Scotland's national animal is the unicorn.
So I'm going to take a wild guess then, and I'm going to say that these are fairy type.
No! because
Yeah.
Fairy type is weak to poison, and in mythology, unicorns cure poison, so they are psychic type, which is super effective against poison. Okay, apparently that's not convincing enough for you. I thought that was a nice little attention to detail, personally.
Good attention to detail. My issue comes the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, well, if unicorns, which I would 100% say would qualify as a fairy Pokemon, should stay as fairy, and what you need to do then is change the type matchup, because clearly the type matchup is wrong. That is the way that I would look at that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna put. I don't actually mind the design of it. In a weird kind of way. I don't like cute things.
No, it's not. It's not your aesthetic.
Not my thing.
You've got to have cute Pokemon as well as having cool
Have
Pokemon.
cute Pokemon. I don't hate it.
Okay.
It's like it's different, but it's not too different. It's not like so wildly out there. That
Okay,
I'm like,
so you
I
basically think it
with
should be fairy type.
Yeah. So should be fairy. Either change how fairy works, or give it a Pokemon power. Is that what they're called?
They're called abilities. You're thinking of the TCG.
Abilities.
It's just called an ability.
Pokemon ability that nullifies poison. I don't know. So that's what I'm going to put for that. And free from evil corporate masters for a few hours, he's been let out of his dungeon.
He glows.
Yeah, okay, I can get the whole unicorn thing. I can understand that.
Yeah. It's just very much more so just it's a unicorn. It's very literally a unicorn because Scotland's national animal is a unicorn.
I mean, yeah, it's Pokemon. It's meant to be about some sort of mythos animals.
We did actually cover the Slowpoke. It eats flowers.
So
its diet has bleached its skin, much like flamingos.
I think I said trash to that one because it wasn't necessary. It didn't change enough.
Fair.
But I did put a change on this Slowbro, didn't I? I'm desperately trying to think of what it was now. Wasn't it like all evolutions of Slowpoke should be Slowbro? They just are affected in different ways based on what Pokemon bites them and where or something. I'm sure.
I think that was the general gist that we came to. They're all Slowbros, but it just changed.
All Slowpoke evolutions should be Slowbro with different type move matchups. I literally put it right there. There you go. So yeah, stand by that one. I think we had a look at Farfetch'd as well because that does look familiar.
Yes, we did. I did. So these ones I remembered probably because they're recent. You can understand why I forgot like a Alolan Rattata because it's not memorable.
I think I gave Farfetch'd a pass, didn't I? Because it was like it wields a bigger leaf.
Yeah, it has a bigger
leaf. And I was like, well,
more aggressive. They have a bigger leaf.
I've already put trash on these Grimers because.
I mean, you don't like base Grimer, so.
No. I don't feel like giving poop sentience would be anybody's sort of top 10 list of things to do with science.
No. It's interesting because what I'm finding here is the general opinion that I have, which is a lot of the regional forms that you don't like are the first regional forms that were ever introduced, which was in Sun and Moon. Sword and Shield came out, and then they did regional forms again, and it was almost like they had a better idea of how to do them. They'd had a bit of practice. It seems that you seem to prefer the later regional forms rather than the first regional forms. You don't like Rattata, you don't like Diglett, you don't like Meowth, but you like...
No, I did like
Oh, you do like the Rattata. You didn't like the Diglett, you didn't like the, I've already forgotten the, Alolan Meowth, but you like the Galarian Meowth.
Yes. Okay, so...
If I recall, Alolan Farfetch'd was okay, but the Evo was a no. Surfetched. With the leak in the shield, which is later on in the decks.
The Voltorbs, same reason as this. The origin is wrong. I don't agree with this whole...
Yes, but it's one of those ones where... Yeah, this was one of the things where it was... I found that it was your personal opinion on, like... Your personal opinion on what you think Voltorb is was therefore influencing what you think of Hisuian Voltorb.
Right, but I just don't... the apricot capturing Pokemon thing is immediately where I get stumbled on it. I understand that there's going to be Pokemon that will imitate things that they find, but I just don't think the apricot should exist. I don't understand how that technology works. There wasn't enough explanation for it.
But that's just Pokemon for you, really. It was, it's just a thing that they took from Gold and Silver because that was just a thing they decided to do. In Gold and Silver, they were like, "There's a guy who makes ancient Pokeballs out of apricorns," and then they decided when they did Legends Arceus that was set in the past, they were like, "Hey, that lore we came up with? We're gonna stick to that. Actually, Pokeballs are made out of apricorns." That was just how they thought. That was just the lore that they decided to go with. So I can't.
It's because Pokemon can shrink themselves, apparently.
Yeah.
I always thought it was the technology that did that, but no.
I think everybody did. I think everybody did.
Pokemon themselves can just shrink, so it's like, well, why do they all go around the size that they are? And there's too many plot holes there of just like, I don't understand. So why doesn't every Pokemon know minimize? Yeah, Das is like, wait, what? Yeah, I know. Like,
yeah,
what?
what Core has just said is literally a single line that appears at the very start of Legends Arceus, which is never brought up again, and that single line confused the entirety of the Pokemon fandom. And I've even heard like arguments of people literally discrediting that line, of literally just being like, because it's in the past and they haven't got science, this guy doesn't fucking know what he's talking about. And I was like, okay, but what's your counter argument for that?
Like, to me, if you just said the technology is so good, we can teleport around the world, store Pokemon in boxes and stuff, that we have made a device that will shrink them down and basically contain them, Capsule Corp style from Dragon Ball Z. That I can sort of go, yeah, okay, that's science. That's what science does. Science does things that it's probably not supposed to do, but, you know, it's going to do that. So a Voltorb then copying a Pokeball makes sense, but it's like, well, there was not the equivalent in the past. I imagine people in the past, when they tamed a Pokemon, they did it like horse wranglers. They tamed it, you know. This horse follows what I do because I tamed it. The medieval people did not go around with tiny little balls on their belt next to their swords where they were like, well, this is where I keep my horse. My horse willingly shrinks down for me so I can carry it wherever I go into battle. That's not how it works. But if you said to me that 500 years in the future we had found ways that people were taking their dogs out to the park in a Pokeballs like item, I could be like, yeah, technology could probably do that, rather than taking like a pet carrier or something, like, I don't know, safer or something. Like, you're not allowed dogs running around on the street because they might bite kids' faces off. We apparently care about kids more than we care about dogs, so it's like, dogs can only be released in the park, so it's like, well, you got to put them in your doggo ball and take them out. But then they wouldn't look in the past and go, so what did they use for doggo balls in the past? Man, there was a lot of plastic in the past. They must have just used like plastic balls, like marbles, or I don't know, some sort of round thing. Like, well, no, we did it the old-fashioned way. We took it out on a lead. So basically, but old Voltorb can go fuck itself.
Okay.
And we're going to move on to Executor. Now, I liked some of Executor, even though I didn't like it. But I can't remember what it was. What was New Executor's thing?
New Executor's thing is that they grow taller because they're from Hawaii, so they get lots more sunlight and more fertile ground, so they've grown very, very tall. The bit that you didn't like was the fact that it's part dragon!
Not dragon. That was it. I knew there was something obvious.
It's part dragon!
Isn't it because it's like dragon fruit?
No, it's because its Latin name is Dracus or whatever.
That's it.
The plant that it's based off, the palm tree, has Draco in its name.
The Hisui balls are just nutshells on a hinge, no tech at all. The only reason they work if the Pokemon can shrink or magic. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
just gonna go with no on that.
Yeah,
one.
This is the thing of like, you really don't like magic being in the Pokemon universe,
No.
But that seems to be how the canon is going.
In the Pokemon universe, it just, that to me is an even bigger plot hole of like all Pokemon can just shrink down, because it's like that, the ability to change your size in a environment where things are going to be constantly firing projectiles or trying to hit you. The fact that they wouldn't use that during a battle makes no sense at all. If I could diminish my size down to like an inch tall, anybody who tried to fight me, I would immediately shrink and change my size constantly, so I couldn't be hit. That's why it doesn't make sense. You can't just throw that in and be like, we've solved the problem. Like, no, because that raises way more issues. Because if they can shrink their size, can they grow? Do they always stay at maximum size? Because what if you find a Pokemon out there that is like a foot tall, but it can actually grow to like 3 foot tall? So can it pick whatever size it wants within that diminishing period? Like, you know, it goes down to the size of a Pokeball, but what's the maximum size? Does it always stay naturally at its maximum? None of these things are answered.
Nope.
You've created more questions by trying to solve one. Whereas just saying Pokeballs are super advanced technology, I can buy that. They have Pokemon, you know, the PC, which transports Pokemon all around the world instantly. They have teleportation technology. They have time travel technology. You saying technology, that makes way more sense than saying magic. That's how much technology there is in the Pokemon universe. It's an ungodly amount of technology they have access to. So I cannot get behind this whole they just shrink. That's like a child's answer to me.
the game they came from had oversized Pokemon. If you're referring to alphas, I don't know if that is, you can really refer, I mean, yes, they're big, but that's the idea of, literally just based off the idea of like, oh, you can find adult crocodiles in the world that are 7 foot long, but you can also find adult crocodiles in this world that are 12 foot long, just because animals can do that.
Welcome back, Rex.
Hi, Rex. Adding in a suit.
Yeah, I like the design of Executor. I just think the idea of giving it dragon just is a real stretch. It's just a real stretch to me. What the hell is going on here? There's a lot happening there.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with Alolan Marowak. So Alolan Marowak, I don't know why, is based off the Fire Dancers, where people would ignite the ends of the stick and would twirl the fire around.
That's a gimme.
Yeah. I haven't actually read into why Alolan Marowak is what it is. It's now Ghost Fire. And I haven't read a wiki page, so you will have to look into it yourself. That's obviously nothing to do with this. Where's the tool I'm looking for?
I do not know how to navigate this place.
To Google tool. Just scroll down. You'll have the physical description here, and then
Right.
and then down in the bottom in the trivia bit is where it will tell you like what it's referencing. Origin. So the biology segment will tell you like what it actually is in game, and that bit tells you what it's based off. Just googling something, chat.
So what I'm gathering from that is that it is trying to change its bone for a torch. So why not just make a new Pokemon, because Marowak's thing is the bone?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I haven't. If Loxton has done a video on Marowak, I haven't watched it.
It's alright, that one's I like the default one, like some sort of scavenger that goes around, you know, finding bones and stuff. I believe we discussed this last time, as opposed to being born with its mother's skull, which makes no sense. But a scavenger, I 100% get behind like a scavenger Pokemon that goes and finds bones. Bones are naturally hard.
Yes.
And, you know, they come in all manner of shapes and sizes that are fully designed for your body. I mean,
there's literally a
cool.
Vulture Pokemon that does that, so...
There you go, that's cool as hell, but I feel like this Marowak one is just a gimmicky one of like, we're setting it in Hawaii, let's put something Hawaiian in there, when I feel that things should be the other way around of like, this was a Pokemon that exists and nature and society kind of adapted it, you know, or mimicked it or something. That seems too on the nose. And so, you know, I'm just like, no, I'm not sold on that one. This one, I remember seeing this one and I was just like, that's a piss take. That's a meme.
Yeah.
That's not a real Pokemon. That's not a real Pokemon.
It's literally like the opposite of Weezing. It's literally the opposite. Because of the Industrial Revolution being based in Britain, as we keep saying, in Galar, there was actually so much pollution that the Weezing evolved to eat and devour the pollution, hence why it has green gunk around its mouth. And it does the opposite of it, filters it and spews out clean air.
I hate it more now that you've explained it.
Okay. You're gonna hate the next bit, it's fairy type.
So they made a Pokemon based on the Industrial Revolution. One of the key things that Birmingham is famous for. We literally have a place in Birmingham that is referred to as the Black Country because when it was seen, the sky was black.
everything was black. It was the center of like coal mining.
Yep, people
and
were covered
industry.
in soot and ash and dirt.
And they made the Pokemon be clean air. No, that I hate it more now because it insults my my heritage.
Due to the appearance has changed due to absorbing polluted air from factories. Both heads have little hat-like tubes that constantly release purified air. It has green poison gas clouds floating around it. The gas clouds also partially cover its faces. The large one has a mustache-like cloud. Consumes particles from the polluted air and expels clean air instead of droppings. Toxins from Galarian Weasel's body are accumulated into poison glass clouds, which leak and drift around it. The gas is its best weapon, being potent enough to stun and immobilize opponents. It eats Trubbish.
Can eat my fucking ass. Get it out of here. What a piece of shit. You've ruined Birmingham. What is this? Lazy ass fucking... I didn't like original Mr. Mime. We'll give it a different colour.
You're gonna hate the fact it's got an evolution.
We're not coming to that because it's not... I want to work through the list.
It's
to
a
get
tap
to Gen 2.
dancer. It's part ice. It's got ice tap shoes. I don't know why they. Yeah.
Why have we got a black Tauros now?
That is
Spain?
Yes, that is in fact a Paldean Tauros, which is the Spanish region. So yes, we have a Spanish Tauros. I don't know why they chose to make it black, but I guess that's because black bulls are like the signature bull from Spain. So yeah, it's just a Paldean Tauros.
Is it any different type?
There's forms, which is not the same as a regional form. There's I can't remember the name for it, but they call it, the name of the form is breeds. So there's a fire type breed and a water type breed, which is literally just like they've been bred to better suit different jobs. I haven't read it too much because it's quite a new thing.
That just seems like a lazy way of not making two versions of a ball type Pokemon. Okay, I'm gonna give this one a change. Here's my reasoning. The famous black balls of Spain, I don't know much about animals, but I do remember that the famous black balls of Spain don't have this kind of fur around them, this kind of mane. They are very sleek, but they are also very big from what I've seen. They have enormous shoulders.
Yeah, Tauros Paldea combat breed, and then you've got Paldean Tauros Blaze breed, which has more pointed forward horns and redness in its mane and a different tail. And then the Aqua breed, which has curved horns, blue mane, and a very straight tail. I don't really feel like they were necessary, honestly. I think it's Pokedex padding, and that's my personal opinion on it.
Yeah,
I think everybody knew Tauros was going to be in the Paldean Pokedex. I think everybody anticipated that there was going to be a regional variant. I think that the different breeds were not necessary.
I'm going to put change. I'm going to say I'm okay with having another Tauros because I think Tauros is cool. Another ball-type Pokemon. I'm down for that. I just feel like that was a really lazy redesign.
Yes.
Like that there, you just changed the colour. And in fact, you didn't even just change the colour because the old Tauros has got blue, orange, and brown and white. That's just black.
You know what is the worst thing for a lot of people about Paldean Tauros? You know how it's got a very black mane and then like a light grey body?
Yeah.
The shiny form swaps them.
That's just
it's so lazy. It's really lazy. Laziest shining in the game in my opinion. I'm going to say this right now on stream. Scarlet and Violet had awful shinies throughout. A lot of Scarlet and Violet shinies are just bad. They were lazy.
It's the weird thing about some of these new ones. Some of these new ones I do like, and some of them are just like really trash. Like, okay, we got to the legendaries, so we're nearly at Gen 2. We went through these briefly before, didn't we? The new Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. Now, I don't mind the design, the look of them. The problem I've got with their existence is that to me, legendaries are legendary because they are one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them as being part of like a species. The whole point of why they're legendary is that they are like either the last one left of what was a species, or they're just, you know, super. They just exist on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that there's an alternative is like, well, does that mean that there is a small flock of Articunos that are out there that are all just spread around? I like
potentially. That does appear to be the implication.
But I don't like that because all these legendaries are genderless, so they cannot create more of themselves, which means that they wouldn't be a living Pokemon in that sense. It's like, well, how do you have a species if you can't make more of yourself? Whereas if you just go down they're just legendaries, they're just super cool things we don't know a lot about. That's weirdly enough more believable.
Yeah.
So I like the look of them. They've done a lot of work to change them. Even Zapdos, which I imagine some people didn't like. Like, I kind of get it. It's very different, and I like that it's very different.
Fighting type ostrich thing.
But I just don't see where they fit in.
Yeah.
You know?
Conversely, the one little bit of trivia that I love about these is that the Galarian forms of the legendary birds, their shinies, have the same colour palette, which I think is a nice little Easter egg.
What do you mean?
So, a shiny Galarian Articuno looks like this, but it has a blue palette.
Okay.
And a shiny Galarian is still the ostrich, but it's yellow.
Okay.
They keep the colour palette of the original, which I think is a good way to do a shiny.
That's
Game Freak. How did you do it good and then do it bad the following generation? The only shiny I liked from S&V was King Gambit. It went from red to blue, I seem to recall.
So now we're on to Gen 2.
There we go. We're nearly an hour in and we finally get to start Gen 2.
So, unfortunately, the sprites aren't here.
Oh, they're not loading. Weird. Oh no, they're hosted on an external site, so I don't know why.
If I refresh it, do they appear?
Don't know. The sprites are hosted on an external site, and Austin got it all set up for them to like call them up. I got insurance fraud hanging around my feet. Free. Okay, I need to change this scene on the mouth. I'm just trying to think about how I do it. I need the corner of the mouth to be more like... I need it to be a box rather than coming to a single point.
Just don't have sprites. Okay, sorry guys. Some of the sprites are there and some of them are not.
It might be, I don't know, it could be that there's a new version of the spreadsheet, but obviously downloading a new version of the spreadsheet would undo all of everything that you've done.
Let me see.
Oh, they're popping in.
Oh, there we go. So I gave a little refresh. There we go. What have I missed in chat? If there were a third form of coughing like a mega wheeze that was more polluting, it would be stronger. Mr. Rhyme. Black Spanish ball fighting.
The Paldean Taurus is a fighting type. The alternate breeds are firefighting and then water fighting for the different breeds.
Okay, giving Tauros a fighting type.
Yeah,
fighting normal.
He's fighting. He's fighting Paldean Tauruses.
That's cool.
Much more aggressive because bullfighting.
Yeah, I dig that. That's cool. Heard talk about the Galar birds aren't actually the breeds they are named. Love Galar Zapdos, but hate that it's flying type.
I can't really acknowledge that because Dodrio exists. Just because it doesn't fly doesn't mean it's not flying type.
I suppose
that was established in Gen 1.
That used because it wasn't actually called flying type, was it? It was called bird.
It was called bird type, but they didn't want it to be locked down to only birds because obviously there are dragons that are flying type.
Yeah, so I can understand the reasoning behind it. Basically, what you're saying is it's like avian of like flying, as opposed to specifically just birds. That's why it's called flying type.
Which is why we have Dodo and Dodrio. They're based off dodos that couldn't fly and ostriches which can't fly. So it's like
I just hate the fact they can fly. That needs to change.
I know Galarian Zapdos's moveset, so I can't comment on that.
No, Dodo and
they can fly. Yes, they can in fact fly.
Fucking dumb. Like you made it specifically to be a creature that doesn't fly, and then you made it fly. Like I want to hurt you for doing that. It was such an obvious thing. Anyway, so a lot of these are going to be passes. So because
I like Gen 2. Gen 2's great.
I do like Chikorita line because they're very similar to Bulbasaur, but different enough.
Yeah.
They're dinosaur plant things, which is kind of what Bulbasaur and whatnot are. They're kind of frog-like, but they're like ancient frog-like. So I would give it the dinosaur plant.
Yeah. So we've had a generation of Pokemon. We've had a little bit to think on.
What is that?
Okay, before we start on that, Gen 2 is the generation that I struggle the most with to pick the starter. I would say that Totodile is my absolute favourite starter. But if it was like a random lottery of like, you know, you can have Cyndaquil, Totodile, or Chikorita, I would be happy with any of them. I like all of them. They're great.
Well, good for you. You're wrong. It's Totodile.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Totodile's the best.
This?
That is a Hisuian Typhlosion.
Okay. More details. Is that the Asian one?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm looking at it, and I don't know.
It's part ghost. Hisuian Typhlosion's appearance is believed to be influenced by the energy emanating from Mount Coronet in the centre of Hisui, which is the place where all of the legendaries are. The fur on its head is different colour, spots produce flames that respond like magenta colour. It has graceful, refined movements that are gentler and more pacifistic nature in comparison to a Johtoan Typhlosion. It can often be seen staring into space. It is assumed that as Hisuian Typhlosion does this, it is looking at the flow of energy and life and is searching for wayward spirits and lost souls to eat. It is believed that Hisuian Typhlosion purifies spirits with the flames as it eats them and guides them back to the afterlife where they belong. Despite its peaceful nature, Hisuian Typhlosion can lose control of its emotions when sufficiently angered and can unleash ghost flames that incinerate its opponents until nothing remains. It can emit a total of 108 ghost flames from a spot on its nape, which, by the way, is a reference to another Pokemon called Spiritomb, which has 108 spirits in it. You don't like it? Okay. Why?
They flip-flopped in that conversation like 3 times.
Yeah.
It's a calmer version, but it can get too angry. So it's just like the Jotun one. It's ghost type and it eats spirits, but that's a good thing because it cures them and sends them off to the afterlife. But it spews flames and it's like, is it peaceful or is it not?
It's purifying.
What the hell was that description?
I think it's based off purifying fire, is the idea.
No.
Geesh, okay. Harsh.
I don't feel like there's a need for it. You know? When you make a new type of Pokemon, I feel that there should be a need that it fills in the world. I don't feel like that fills a need in the world that I would go, oh, of course, it's got to be a Typhlosion that fixes that problem. That just seems really tacked on to me.
Okay.
I don't see the need for it. It's just so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worth knowing that for Legends Arceus, they didn't introduce new starters.
I remember you saying that they were using, but they were from different.
They were from different regions because the opening sort of like concept, aside from the whole time travel thing, which we're not going to get into with the main character, the village that you go to is basically people colonizing Hisui.
Right.
So they don't have the indigenous starters, which you can find in the wild at the end of the game, Piplup and Chimchar. They're the indigenous starters. They have come from other countries, like Galar, which is confirmed in the game, so they brought their starters with them, which is why the starters in that game are from different regions. So the starters in that game are Cyndaquil, Rowlet, and Oshawott. 3 different starters from 3 different regions because it's a big group of people who have come over to investigate this new area.
So how do you get the Hisuian Typhlosion then?
You'll notice how there aren't Hisuian versions of the final forms. Literally, as your starter is travelling with you on this journey, they are being influenced by the area that they are growing up in. So it's like evolution, but sped up 100 times, which is a bit shit.
That's not how evolution works at all.
I know it's not how evolution works. I think it was just their way of being like, you're using old starters, but you're getting something new. Because game mechanics, basically.
I'm sorry, that's weak marketing is what I see that as. That's all that seems to be. Totodile Lime, I do like Totodile Lime.
We love Totodile!
I always found it a little bit odd that Croconaw has this kind of yellow belly that goes all the way around. It always made me think of it in a nappy.
It does look a bit like a nappy, I will agree with you on that
and
one.
That's why I'm like, it feels less cool. Like Wartortle to me always felt like a kind of teenager, young adult Pokemon. Croconaw always looks like Walmart 9-year-old that's still being breastfed. You know, like...
It's weird because the top half with, like, the black around its eyes and the fin makes you think of, like, an angsty teen with, like, a mohawk and eyeliner, but then from the waist down, it's a bit awkward.
I'm actually going to give that a change.
I think it just needs its patterns changing. It needs to have, like, a belly stripe, like, for Alligator or Totodile. It's weird that they gave it this sort of, like, patch.
Change yellow part a lot, yeah.
It just needs different markings.
Kind of like a caveman toga. I mean, I guess, but it's not what I initially see. I mean, seriously, the first time when I was playing Silver, Pokemon Silver, because that was the one that I got, and I evolved my Totodile into Croconaw, I actually was like, oh, I don't like this. I preferred it as a Totodile. I liked Totodile. Totodile was kind of cool.
Yeah, it is very much an awkward middle stage in all terms of the word of just like, I can't wait for this to evolve.
Yeah, I really wanted to get for Alligator to be like, well, surely the final form's got to look cooler, and then it turns into just a big frick off crocodile.
Yeah,
like, okay, I can get behind that.
It's definitely. I feel that way about almost every starter. Honestly, a lot of starters, their middle forms are mid. But Totodile's like, I fucking love Totodile, I fucking love Feraligatr. Croconaw is okay. Quilava's decent, to be fair.
Cool.
And I like Grovyle as well. Grovyle is a decent middle form.
Bayleaf, that's a good middle form. I like both of those middle forms. They're pretty cool. You know, they're different enough.
I like how every Gen 2 middle starter has a mohawk.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but they've all got mohawks. They've all got mohawks.
Furret, trash.
How dare you in this house?
Hoot Hoot. Nocta. I don't like Hoot Hoot. I think just because I kept seeing him on journeys. Because anytime I got to play, it was always like when we went out in the evening, and I'd be like, cool, I'm going to go out and catch some Pokemon. Just fucking loads of Hoot Hoots. Like a new Zubat. Just like, I know I'm playing at night time. It's because I'm driving home in the car. Let me find out. Woo, woo, woo. Just the whole journey. Anyway,
I really like, Hoot Hoot is mid, but I like Noctowl.
Nah, I'm joking. I do.
You do?
Yeah, I do like it. It just the thing of like every time you go through a cave and you're like, oh, I'm gonna fight loads of Zubats. Anytime I was driving home, I was like, cool, I gotta go through wild grass. I guess I'm gonna fight loads of fucking Hoot Hoots.
It's Hoot Hoot time.
Because that's the main time when I got to play, was when we were going out somewhere in the evening. So I'd get my Game Boy, we'd go in the car, and it's like, well, it's night time, and time is a thing here, so you're gonna find lots of owls. Ledybar and Ledian? Ledian's a little weird, but I don't mind him.
Nothing wrong with them.
I don't mind him. It's just a little. It's kind of weird that he gets this kind of space age racing helmet kind of thing as opposed to the eyes, but I don't dislike it.
Well, that's because of the other thing it's based off of, which the other thing that's based off of is the stereotype of superhero. For example, Beautiful Joe.
Yeah, okay. I did wonder why I did see a lot of imagery of it, but yeah.
That's Ledian. It's this sort of like huzzah, which is why there's that Ledian in Pokemon Coliseum that absolutely beats the crap out of you. Like, what the fuck? It's hard.
Spinarak and Ariados. Weird that they're not spiders. Because they're ants.
Yep, because they haven't got 8 legs.
They haven't got 8 legs.
Well, you could. Oh, yeah. I think that's one of those things where, because of the success of Gen 1, that's where some of the executives step in and go, look, 8 legs is hard to animate. Can we reduce you to 6?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, I like them. Crobat.
It's good.
Crobat's the evolution one of Zubat, isn't it?
Yes.
Not Gligar.
No, Gligar's its own thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Zubat, Golbat, Crobat. I like Crobat. It made Zubat better.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I like Crobat. Chinchou and Lantern. I really like Chinchou and Lantern. Don't know why. They just fit a good niche of water.
Yeah, it's a good niche deep sea Pokemon. Now we reach this babies.
Stage.
We have reached baby time.
So let me give a blanket coverage for baby Pokemon. Okay? I feel that the only necessary time when you need a baby Pokemon is when the first form of a Pokemon, or if it's the only form of a Pokemon, is considerably too large to be its own thing.
Okay.
Like Snorlax having Munchlax. I'm okay with that because Snorlax is fucking huge. So it's like, well, it's got to start out small at some point. So having it start out as a Munchlax that grows into a Snorlax, cool with that. I don't feel like Pikachu qualifies as being big enough to need a baby version.
Okay.
I don't feel that Pichu adds enough other than just being cute, but I feel that a baby Pikachu would be just as cute. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
Pichu to me just is baby Pikachu. That's all it is. So I don't feel like it needs its own separate subtype. And the same really for Cleffa. I feel like a Clefairy is good enough on its own.
I do not like Igglybuff. It looks too weird.
Yeah.
Jigglypuff is kind of cute. I can get behind that. Igglybuff looks like a mistake.
Yeah, and it kind of behaves like one as well. There's something weird about Igglybuff because they're literally like bouncy balls.
I'm gonna put in a new category.
I guess.
I will put that in because I know some people will be very offended by getting rid of the baby Pokemon, and it's like I don't really have enough of a reason to say no. So, I guess.
Baby Pikachu technically already existed. Yeah, there was a Gen 1 episode of Wild Pikachus that had baby Pikachus that were literally like half the size because Pichu didn't exist at that point.
Fair enough.
What's interesting is that they've retroactively, as part of this whole like anniversary thing, is they retroactively made a special episode that was Pikachu's origin story of when it was a Pichu in the wild. It was a Pichu in the wild. It got found and adopted by a Kangaskhan, and it got such a close relationship with the Kangaskhan and the baby Kangaskhan that it evolved out of happiness. And then it did the typical anime thing of like, I'm an adult now, it is time for me to move on and find my own thing. And then they cut the camera there, which I imagine was for comedy's sake, because I imagine that the next thing that happened is it got hit in the face by a Pokeball by Professor Oak.
Mine. Okay, back to this then. So, Togepi? Yeah, give Togepi a pass.
Yep.
Togepi's kind of cool.
So Togepi is one of those Pokemon where it's like, it's a baby Pokemon, but it was a baby Pokemon for a Pokemon that they were making, so it fits in better.
Yeah.
Rather, it's not being tacked onto something that already exists. It was specifically made to go hand in hand with Togetic. I like Togetic.
It's a little odd that the body of it turns white. Like, clearly the Pokemon there is a cream colour in a white shell with blue and red spots on it, and it then turns into a fully white Pokemon with the same blue and red spots.
Yeah.
It's a little odd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to say to that other than, yeah, it is a little odd.
I might put a change on that one.
Change its colour.
Consistent skin colour.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the fact that once it was introduced, Togepi was flat out changed from normal type to fairy? Flat out changed. No dual typing, just flat out changed.
I mean, I guess kind of makes sense.
It's the joy Pokemon.
Yeah, I guess that does kind of make sense. I guess they've been treading that line for a long time of like, you know, we need another type that kind of fits with these cutesy Pokemon, but we don't know what to do with it. And then they finally bit the bullet when it was like competitive plays were seriously. I've been missing out on chat. What we got?
No wonder Pikachu was so pissed in the first episode of the anime you ruined its hero art by taking it. Yeah, it does sort of make sense.
Not sure if copy, but amusing coming from me, but I've never really liked the fire starters. Well, that is ironic for Core, isn't it?
Yeah, that is actually ironic.
Kind of grass type.
Yeah, Core, what is your go-to type? In fact, everybody in chat, what is your go-to starter type? Because my go-to starter type tends to be water.
Mine's been water throughout every game. I've never picked any other type.
Yeah.
Ever. Always pick the blue type. It's just what I do. I feel like Core might surprise us and be like, he picks grass. Oh, why? No,
Core's water, Naren is grass, Das is grass.
Fair.
I know that Curls is fire. Is fire. I'm gonna add another loop in, I think.
There was a thing that said that based on your starting element that you pick, if you pick fire, you're apparently quite rash and like you like to power level your Pokemon. If you pick water, you like to balance your team and are more of a tactical thinker. And if you pick grass, you're a little bitch.
Wow,
Well,
I didn't realise that was where that conversation was going.
I definitely read that somewhere. That was something that I read.
That's so funny. I was literally with you right up until that last one because I was like, that does read because I do level my team evenly. And when my brother got gold, he picked Cyndaquil and maxed out his Typhlosion to like level 80 and just blitzed the game with his singular Typhlosion. So I was with you. I was like, yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah. Dan did the same thing. His Charizard was almost unbeatable. It was like a god tier, like level 50, and his next highest was 15 or something stupid. Like, yeah, I just had to put that in for chat. Fuck you, chat. Nobody picks grass types. Grass type is always left on the table.
I like how you say that when there's literally 2 people in chat picking grass.
2 out of the 3 people that responded, that is the majority. Thor can just go fuck himself anyway.
Nina
Korn knows
Nina
what he
is
did.
also a grass type trainer, just so you know.
Nina.
Nina's a grass type trainer.
She's not here to defend herself, is she?
Wow!
Mudkip was the first time, first water. Yeah, I can see that.
Mudkip is cute. It turns into like cool.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. Marshtomp, with the being the exception, Marshtomp I always looked at and was
Again,
like,
it's the
"You're
awkward
a
teen.
freak."
It's the awkward teen stage again. It's literally the Totodile for alligator treatment of the two either side are fine, but the one at the end is weird.
Natu and Xatu.
Good
sick.
Pokemon.
I like them.
Good Pokemon.
Very cool Pokemon. Right.
Yeah, I almost feel like I know where this is going.
What the fuck were they trying to achieve with this? Marshtomp is a Quagsire cosplayer.
What did I do? Do you mean by picking instincts? Also yes. Pick a goddamn side!
Blue.
Yeah.
Explain the sheep to me.
Okay, it starts out strong, because Mareep is literally just like a pun on... Yeah.
I like Mareep.
Yeah, I can't really bash Mareep. It starts strong.
It's cool. Mareep's cool. Why is Flaffy pink? In fact, better question. Here's a better question. Why is it that Mareep is blue with yellow fur, and then Flaffy is pink with white fur?
I don't know why artists make their decisions.
No, I'm asking, is there a reason? Is there some lore reason where it's like, well, it's based off of this sheep, which is known to turn pink in the summer, or I don't know. Is there a reason, or is there no reason?
I don't really know.
Cool.
Honestly,
Well, that's getting an immediate change then. Like, why pink? I feel like that's all that needs. Why pink? Why would you do that?
Yeah,
I
think the reason that Mareep is blue is based off a breed of blackface sheep, but they didn't want to make it black for probably just art reasons. If you've got a black face, black eyes, black horns,
Yeah.
it's all very hard to see. So they probably went with blue because electric blue, it's a better color palette.
I like Mareep. You don't need to justify Mareep to me. I like Mareep. All I want to know is why the hell did they change flag? You have to censor that. You can't put that on stream.
Him naked.
You can't see because it's behind your head.
Him naked, chat. Him naked.
Based off the clone sheep they made a few years back, apparently. Was the cloned one pink? I feel like I'd have heard of a pink
I feel like
sheep.
it wasn't.
Dolly the sheep. Doesn't look very pink.
It's got a white face and a pink nose, which is like the standard.
I feel like that's just a sheep.
That's just a regular sheep. Whereas with the black face sheep, obviously have, which is what Marie kind of looks like.
Also, Flaffy doesn't have a white face.
It's pink. It's got white wool and it's pink. So,
Right, so
I can't really
That's got to change.
The end of this conversation is I can't really justify why Flaffy is pink. I can't give you a reason. I don't know.
So if you change that to yellow, to blue, sorry, with yellow fur, that then leads to the next question. Why is Ampharos yellow? Which I didn't feel needed to be a question because it's got no wool on it.
I don't know if this is... I will say this, I literally do not know. This is me speculating. I don't know if this is a Pikachu situation where it does have hair, it's just very fine hair, because Pikachu doesn't have skin, it is confirmed to be furry. So I don't know if Ampharos does actually have hair and it has regrown its wool from being Mareep. I don't know. That's my speculation. I don't know.
I'm gonna put... It's really annoying because Mareep going into Flaffy into Ampharos, you can see it becoming bipedal, right? But if I say Ampharos doesn't really make sense because it's a different colour to what the skin colour should be, which is blue, so get rid of it. Having Mareep just turn into Flaffy of like, okay, it's a sheep that stood up, is a bit weak. So it kind of needs the third one of like, here's the sort of more powerful 100% bipedal version. But I feel like it needs to be blue. And it's got no wool, so I feel like it needs wool. It's a sheep Pokemon. It came from a sheep. Even goats and stuff, which are similar to sheep or have the similar genus, it needs wool.
Has rubbery skin. Mega Ampharos gets its wool back. Storing too much electricity causes Flappy to lose the wool over most of its body, but the bare rubbery skin protects it from electricity stored in its fleece. I mean, if you're a Pokemon of a certain type that can't handle that type, then I feel like you've already failed. That's like saying like Typhlosion can't have fire on it because it burns it. Like, well then you shouldn't be a fucking fire type then, should you, scrub? Get good. So, I feel like I've got to go with a change on Ampharos. Weirdly, needs to be blue with yellow wool. I can't justify it any other way in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a really weird thing to say, is that the electric sheep that is yellow is the wrong colour. It feels dumb, but
Yeah.
like just based on what they started with, unless they changed Mareep to yellow, but I feel like Mareep's design is spot on.
Yeah, I can't knock Marie. Are we ignoring Megas still?
Megas do not exist.
Okay, we're
Megas
ignoring.
are false.
We're ignoring Megas.
Blossom,
Yep, can't argue with Blossom either.
little Blossom, little Marill. Azumarill I always found kind of weird, but it works. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. It's a rabbit.
Yeah.
I just
It's
find
very
it
funny to me
shit.
that Azumarill has gained popularity in literally the last 3 months by being a pretty decent meta for Scarlet and Violet.
Alright.
It's gained meta power in Scarlet and Violet, which is very funny to me. It's like, it's fucking Azumarill.
I feel like there is a fire type that is fire type because it got burned. I mean, that would make a lot of sense for Pokemon logic. Sudowoodo. Yep. Politoed. Right. Politoed. That's
Our
Polygon.
our first sort of branching evolution.
I don't like it.
No.
It's too different.
Would you like it more if its shiny was its standard form? I have 2 shiny Politoes, by the way.
Yeah.
Would you like Politoed more if the shiny was the standard?
What's its typing?
It's still water, I think.
Just water?
Yeah, it's just water. I think it has a higher focus on special? No, this was before the special split happened, so I don't actually know. I don't actually know.
Nah, I still leaning towards no, because it's too different from Poliwhirl.
See, the thing is that we critiqued Poliwrath for being too similar.
Right, but I liked the idea of Poliwhirl.
Okay.
You go from like this little Poliwag, then it gets some arms and legs, and it's got like a kind of fighting aspect to it, but it isn't fighting yet, and then it turns into a big frog that is fighting type. I'm like, I can go behind that. So then make an alternate evolution where it's like the legs are different and the hands are very different, and it's got this thing on its head, and the swirl has completely changed. Politoed to me just feels like its own separate Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like it needs to have that, like, be branched onto that line, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like picking, like, I don't know, Sudowoodo, and then just sort of tacking it on with another plant type Pokemon, like, oh, this is an alternative for, like, glue. And you'd be like, why? It's a plant, and it's like, gonna need more of a connection than that, I'm afraid. It's
Okay.
a little too different.
So you think it works better as a standalone?
I would keep it as a standalone, yeah. I feel like it could just be its own thing. Just another sort of water type. It's a toad, so it's, you know, similar to Poliwag and Poliwrath and whatnot in that they're frog-like, and this is just toad-like. I think that could work. Make it its own Pokemon.
Also, Beta Politoed sprite.
I don't like it, but I can see it's closer to
Yeah, because
Poliwag.
it's still got the swirl on its chest.
Yeah. It's like, it's crap.
Artist
but it's
interpretation.
closer crap, you know? So, that's where I sit with Politoed. I would never willingly evolve my Poliwhirl
Hi, Vaz.
into a Politoed. Hey, Vaz, you're right.
I'm trying to work out what I
Gotta
need to do
support
with
it
this
because Frog,
vertex.
if this was in place of the first Evo, it's worked for me.
I've got 5 verts here and I don't want them. And I'm trying to work out how I want to do this.
How you gonna do this?
How do I want to do this?
Hoppip, Skip Bloom, Jumpluff. Big fan. Big fan.
You actually really like... I'm one of those Pokemon where I'm like, they're inoffensive. I neither like nor hate them. I'm fine with them existing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Fine with them existing world. Apom, again, another
It's
monkey
fine,
type because
yeah.
we've got Mankeys, so I'm okay with having another weird kind of monkey thing.
It's kind of cute. In a way, it's kind of clever how it's got the grasping tail because there is that kind of like gimmick of monkeys like picking things up with their tails. What don't you like about Sunkern and Sunflora?
Just shouldn't float. Very minor.
Oh.
Stuff that floats just irks me. I just don't like stuff that floats for no apparent reason. But
What about Hoppip?
It's literally as light as it's meant to be, like a seed that floats, isn't it? It's
Okay.
the wind that picks it up. It doesn't actually float. It's meant to be ridiculously light, isn't it? Same with Jumpluff. It's like that dandelion.
It also again, this was a modern iteration. When we went to 3D, it gained tails,
Spins.
propeller. Yeah,
Yeah.
the little thing spin.
So that's why I give that one okay. It's meant to be ridiculous. Like Yanma I like,
It's
but
fine.
I always confuse Yanma with having a pre-evolution.
That's interesting because it doesn't have a pre-evolution, but it gained an evolution
I
in
always
later
think of it
generations.
like is it Flygon or Vibrava?
You're probably thinking Vibrava.
That comes from Trapinch.
Yeah.
I always think that Yanma has a pre-evolution, but it doesn't. But it's a cool bug. We need more cool bugs.
It's just a bug. It's just a bug.
Wooper.
Mid-game bug.
What is that?
That's a Paldean Wooper. They live in swamps. So
Okay.
they are ground poison type, like poison frogs in a way. Ooh. So they've got like a loopy film on them, and a nice little detail that I think is cute in their design is that because they're part poison type, their gills are in the shape of a crossbones, which would appear on a poison bottle. So that's a nice little design type. So
Okay.
ground poison. They live in murky swamps.
Yanma is nice. Not exactly a fan of the Evo though. Looks like we're going to come to that.
Oh, the
I'm going to give this alternate Wooper a pass then. That's okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Quagsire, a little dumb, but I'm not sure what it is. It's just a thing.
This is another one like Berserker in that they didn't give it a Paldean Quagsire, they gave it a alternate evolution, which is similar to Quagsire, but not quite the same.
Okay.
It's called a Clodsire. Which, if you want to address now, you can. If you don't want to, and address it later, because it will be later on down in the list. That's up to you. Oh, you don't like Espeon? Oh no.
Need a change.
What's wrong with
And
Espeon?
Umbreon.
What's wrong with both of them? No, my good boy. What's wrong with them?
Evolution sucks.
Oh, stones, right. That old chest. I forgot.
Blue
I
was
forgot.
very worried,
I was actually worried. Yeah, I forgot. Spook hates stones as a. Oh no, wait. These guys don't. I mean, they can use stones in modern
They-
day. Now
the
it's
thing-
happiness via daytime.
Yeah, that's the bit that irks me. Like Umbreon, being friendly to it at night, cool, understand. Dark type, psychic type, be nice to it during the day. That to me would be Leafeon because of sunlight and photosynthesis. I can see
Funny
the
enough, they
connection.
found a beta sprite in the beta version of Gold and Silver
I
that looks
remember
like
you showed-
Leafeon.
That does look like Leafeon. I don't feel like the psychic one makes sense for friendship. I also just think friendship is just a bit too loosey goosey.
Yeah.
I don't like.
Again, it's one of those weird translation things. Honestly, a better translation for it into English would have been loyalty. I think loyalty is a bit closer because friendship isn't the word that they use in Japanese, but the like.
Still don't like it because I like the idea that there are wild versions of these Pokemon. How do you get a wild version of the Pokemon? Who's it loyal to? God
I suppose
itself?
that's fair. Yeah,
You
I
know.
suppose that's fair. I did literally just tell you the story about how Pikachu evolved from a Pichu in the wild.
So yeah, how does that work? Because that again, friendship.
Yeah.
Friendship with who?
Well,
Everyone?
friendship with a Kangaskhan, apparently, according
Just
to the anime.
having friends.
Apparently,
Being popular.
they can be friends with other Pokemon.
Also, my brother Doggo is called Yama. Is
Aww.
that Greek for fish and chips? Because that's the only thing I know that we stole from Greece was fish and chips.
Fuck.
Fish and chips are from Greece. That is where the British stole fish and chips from.
Mhm.
That is a fact. Read up on that.
That is what we stole from the Greeks. I mean, the Greeks stole a lot of our money because they never paid us back. But I mean, I'd say that's still worthwhile investment. Murkrow. Murkrow gets pass.
I like Murkrow!
Right, we've already covered this. We're not going to rehash old territory. Goodbye to Slowking and whatever that is. Not even going to acknowledge that. That's just a cursed image.
Yeah, we've talked about that already.
Mischievous. First girl ghost. Like Mischievous.
Yay! Spooky
Unknown,
lady.
Whose name I always misspell.
Yeah, because there's no K.
There's no K in there, which is how it should be, although it's how it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Just yeah. K silent. We'll get rid of it then. Ah, well, I don't know how to spell it now. Now you fucked up my spelling. Yeah, weirdly enough, I do like the unknown, but I can't justify why, because they're based on letters, which technically should be the other way around. So I'm going to put it down to that the unknown come from just like magic.
That's pretty much what they are always referred to from this point out. Literally, the unknown. Even it's almost like Diglett syndrome, but you don't find them everywhere, so it's fine. But even in modern day Pokemon games, it's still just kind of not really of just like, we don't really know what the unknown are. They're maybe tied to Arceus somehow. They're clearly just magic and something we don't understand, hence the name.
I'll give him a pass.
It's literally Pokemon's brush with the Eldritch. Of
Yeah,
like
unknown and not unknown. Yeah, that's how I always spelt it, but that is wrong. Wobbuffet.
Wobbuffet!
Okay, I'm going to need some explanation on Wobbuffet here, love. The more I look at it now, the more I'm like, this was just put in for a gimmick. You know, I'm losing it a little. I need you to re-justify to me Wobbuffet. That you can't spell. Wobbuffet.
Wobbuffet.
What is it?
Wobbuffet is likely based on a punching bag that when hit is bounced back. Alternatively, it may be based on the concept of karma, because it can only cause damage when it is attacked first. Wobbuffet may also be based on an Okeagari Kubashi doll, a Japanese traditional doll with squinted eyes that stands up when pushed over. Given that Wobbuffet touches its hand to its forehead, it may also be based on the Japanese comedian Sanpai Haisha, who was famous for repeatedly touching his hand to his forehead while saying his trademark lines, Sonasu Okusan, which is, that's the way it is, man. That's the doll that it's based off. No? Okay.
That actually made it worse. It's a Pokemon that is based off a punching bag, like. So how does this thing just sort of occur in the wild? Yeah, no. I'm not buying that.
So that's the way it is. Because Wobbuffet, I don't know where the English name came from, but literally the Japanese name, as I just said, was a reference to this comedian's name who said this. That's the way it is, which is why Wynut is called what it is. Because the joke is meant to be, which they literally do in the anime, is why not? That's the way it is. Why not? That's the way it is. Why not? And that's literally the joke that they did for like a minute. Doesn't really work in English.
Cool. Bye bye. Giraffarig.
Giraffarig!
Now, I didn't like the beta sprite because it was a little too weird. I don't mind this. This is kind of freaky cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Giraffarig, it's a palindrome.
It's a giraffe, actually, love.
Yep.
That's in the name.
It got an evolution.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me just enjoy Pokemon Gen 2. Why?
Every time I tell Spook that a Pokemon has gained an evolution, I can see the light dim in his eyes.
Wobble rocking motion, Buffet stroke repeatedly related to Wobbuffet's punching bag shape. Yeah, Wobbuffet is basically a Weeble.
Yes.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down, which is a dumb idea for
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Pineco and Forretress. I love Pineco. I don't know whether it's just the colour, but I love
It's
Pineco.
a pine cone, but it's also a hand grenade.
Dunsparce, based on the mythical
Tsukinoko!
Tsukinoko. Yeah, I like that.
Fat snake, fat snake, fat snake!
Flygar, even though I get it confused all the time with Crobat.
It's a standalone thing.
It is a standalone thing.
It got an evolution later on.
also has Evo. Gligar.
Oh, and Dunsparce did as well.
Dunsparce has an Evo.
Dunsparce and Gligar both got given Evos. As did Giraffrig. A lot of Gen 2 Pokemon got given extended evolutions. Gen 2 had a lot of standalone Pokemon that later got evolutions.
Steelix.
We love Steelix.
Steelix is the only reason to use a metal coat.
This is Scissor Erasure.
Steelix is the only reason to use a metal coat.
Core, cover thine ears!
Snubbull and Gramble.
Fine. I've never been a big fan of Snubble's design, but it's just one of those where it's a Pokemon that's not my taste. It fills a niche that just needs to exist, really.
It's just a dog.
It's just a dog.
You know what
It's
more
a bit
can you say?
weird.
It's just dog. Quillfish.
Quillfish.
What is that?
That's a Hisuian Quillfish.
Is that based off that poisonous fish that kills you?
Yes,
Isn't
well
that
done.
what Quillfish is already based off
Kinda, but
of? Yes, but more. What?
yeah.
Well, what's this Quillfish's thing? Why this one?
It is dark poison. It's not water poison, it's dark poison.
No, it's a fish. It should be water type.
Doesn't actually really give a reason here. I think it's mainly I think they made Hisuian Quillfish purely because they made an evolution. I feel like the evolution came first and they were like, ah shit, backpedal.
It's not different enough. You don't need to make the same Pokemon twice. There's no reason to have two.
But it gained an evolution.
I've always loved Gramble. Yeah, I don't know why. Gramble is just, I know it's kind of cool.
It's fine.
I kind of like Gramble. It's kind of cool.
There's nothing that I can take offense to.
Is it skin or is it a dress? I'm gonna go with fur.
It's fur.
Fur makes me feel better than saying skin.
I think we'll say it's fur. This is another one of those things like Pikachu and stuff where it's like it may be one matte colour, but I'm pretty sure it's meant to be fur. If you look at Detective Pikachu, the Snubbull in that is furry.
I used to believe Steelix has the most defense, but no, Shuckle has the most defense. Yeah, that would be the only thing I would say for Steelix is that I feel like it should be way more godlike than it actually is because it's fucking enormous. Wow, that's...
I mean, it's a bulldog, so...
yeah, it's one of them of like, I feel like it shouldn't look like that, but it absolutely should look like that.
Yeah,
it?
it's like, yeah,
bulldogs are fucking disgusting.
that is correct. It's based off a bulldog, and when you look at a lot of bulldogs, you kind of go, oh. So
Yeah.
it is accurate. It's
Why they're requesting Pokemon Infinite. Right, now we get to Scizor.
What don't you like about Scizor then? Since
Is Scizor Core's favourite Pokemon?
Is it your absolute favourite Pokemon, or is it just one of them? We've got like a 10-second delay.
Yeah.
More Scyther, to be honest. Okay.
Okay, good. The Scyther is fucking sick.
Yes. Love
That might
Scyther.
be the best design for a bug Pokemon you could ever get.
Absolutely. Scyther is one of my favourite bug types.
Unbelievable.
I love Scyther.
So the question I've got is why would you take something that is a praying mantis that has super sharp, razor-like claws that fit so well, and then turn it into them pincers which are considerably less effective?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like adding a steel type to Scyther, I feel like you could have made it cooler than that.
Yeah. This is another one of those things where I feel like they almost came up with the name and then we're like, oh, we got to do it because of the gimmick, because we talked about Cleavor in the previous one.
Also, what kind of fucking scissors do you know
They look like that.
look like that?
Yeah.
That's not a scissor. Like, if you give it like praying mantis style arms that are actual scissors that have like some underneath, I could get on board with that. I could say, okay, I can see where you're going with this, but that's a clamp. That's like a crab claw.
Yeah.
That's a claw. That's not a scissor. Crabs don't have scissor hands. They have claws. They're very definitely claws. That's a claw. It's not a scissor. So I'm going to give him a change because I like the idea of Scyther having an evolution, because Scyther's cool, so more Scyther is got to be cooler, but...
They're currently 0 for 0 at the moment because they made Sizzle, which we don't like, and they made Cleavor, which we also don't like.
I think I think it's just because they nailed it with Scyther.
Yeah, they got it perfect on the first try.
It was so good.
They got it perfect on the first try.
Like, when you found a Scyther, when you were wandering around the Safari Zone, it was like if you would immediately check your battery. Like, if my battery's running low on my Game Boy, I might have to kill myself at this point if I don't manage to get this Scyther. It's just too good. It's such a good Pokemon. Okay, Stanji, thanks for the update that I'm definitely not going to read on stream. That came pretty left-wing.
What the fuck?
It's the kind of stuff he sends me.
What the actual fuck? Okay.
And then Das has been updating me with the cats.
Yeah.
That last one, that's not a scissor. It's not a scissor.
It's a clamp.
So again, I like the idea of Scizor. I just don't feel like they've really...
Yeah,
really
good
nailed
idea,
it.
bad execution.
Yeah, not a scissor Pokemon. But, you know, a steel-type Scyther, that sounds cool. Because it gained Armored Shell, I think it shouldn't have gotten the clamped pincers. Yeah, they should have added another blade on the under the first on Scyther when turning scissor. Yeah. 100% what these guys are saying. That would have been how you do it. Shuckle. It's just so. I don't necessarily think it should be as god tier defense as it is. I feel like that is more of a gimmick.
It's very much, its stats are gimmicky of just like, we're going to put all the stats into defense, but it can do literally nothing else.
I'm going to put less gimmicky stats, but the design of it, I like it. It's kind of newly...
Given that they gave an evolution to like Girafarig, and Dunsparce, and Scyther, and all of these, I'm actually surprised that Shuckle didn't get given an evolution, actually.
Is it because that there's no way to make the stats even more broken towards its defense?
That's fair, I suppose.
Is it like they can't really do like it plus? Maybe you would like a Scizor Skarmory fusion spook. Ooh, that's
Skarmory's wing blades.
That could be kind of cool. Heracross, again, another god tier bug Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because it's just big and awesome. Sneasel, what is that? Blue.
That's a Hisuian Sneasel, which is, as you can tell from the purple splotches on it, is poison. Poison type. We bring up the option.
So instead of
Sneasel.
dark ice, it is...
Fighting poison.
Losing me now. It's too different.
Okay. Human Sneasel's curved claws allow it to climb on the walls of the cliffs where it lives. The venom from the tips of its claws are capable of invading the nervous system of the prey it catches. It has been observed that Hisuian Sneasel lacks the spitefulness of its Johtoian counterpart, hence the removal of fighting to the dark type. It's theorised that the differences in their environments account for the different personalities. As a result, Hisuian Sneasel evolves into something different.
Wait. I would like you to read the last part of that sentence again, in that because it is less spiteful, it uses poison, which is quite a spiteful way to kill
It's still
someone.
spiteful, but dark type is literally the evil type, so that's their reasoning for it.
I feel like being paralysed before you are killed is much more spiteful and evil than just being attacked. That seems like a very oxymoron. Right, I don't feel that there is a need for this other Sneasel. Sneasel on its own was cool enough.
Yeah, Sneasel's very cool. It's based off the Kama Itachi. Sneasel's based off the Kama Itachi, a yokai often represented as a weasel demon with sickles on their front legs, sometimes understood to be the cause of mysterious cuts on the skin, especially in cold weather.
If it were dark and poisoned, it could be good. Yeah, I feel like keeping the dark. The ice bit is maybe the less well-known type for Sneasel.
Yeah, Sneasel could have lost its ice type.
Could have lost its ice type, but to change both of its types and then that description, which just completely counteracts itself. Scizor and Kabutops. Oh, that would be cool. Kabutops is fucking sick.
We like
I love Kabutops. He was always the one I'd go for. When it's like, do you want to have this fucking ninja samurai prehistoric sort of bug thing or a snail? Like, no, I don't want Gary. said SpongeBob. Give me the fucking ninja thing. That looked cool as hell.
Yeah.
You know, it's so good. Teddy Ursaring. Need some bears. Need some bears.
Gained an evolution. Every time. Got a third stage for Ursaring.
Doesn't need. Look, it's a huge fuck off bear.
I think it's one of those things where maybe they gave it an evolution because even though it's a huge fuck off bear, its stats and moves are actually kind of lacking.
You're just in the wrong part of the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, Slugma and Mag Cargo. Cool. Let's make a snail,
fine.
but it's not a bug, it's fire.
Yeah.
I argue that you probably could have made that fire bug just to be weird. It's a snail slug, you know. Why not? Why not give it a weird type combo? I mean, what would that type combo even look like?
Firebug? I think there is a firebug.
Is it?
Oh, it's Volcarona, isn't it?
So what is it weak to then, or not weak to?
Volcarona. We get to later. Where's it going to say Volcarona's weaknesses? It is damaged. It is weak to flying, rock, and it is weak to water because bugs don't resist water. They're not grass types. It's weak to flying, rock, and water. Bug fire type. But that comes later in the Pokedex.
I feel like that could work.
That comes later in the Pokedex.
I'd honestly like to see that change. I think that would have been.
You think he'd be nicer as a? Cause is he part rock? I think because he's magma of his rock shell. I think Macargo might be part rock.
I hope he's not, because the ironic thing of that is that he's called Mag Cargo, and lava that is underground is called magma underground. You know, that would be kind of funny.
He is part rock because his shell is rock because it has solidified. Slugma isn't. He's always underground because he's under his shell.
Alright, I'll leave it as a pass. I'm not really that fussed. I'm not that fussed.
Spook really sat there and stared at Macargo thinking, do I care enough? No, I don't.
Corsola and Sad Corsola.
I've just put these horns in here, but I don't think I've put them far enough forward, so I'm going to have to backpedal a bunch here. Hopefully I've got enough. I don't. I might have to reload. So I've put them in the wrong place, I think. Okay, I can go further back than that. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
I've reached another point.
Okay.
What's that?
Corsola.
What's that?
That.
Why is that white, and why does it look so sad?
It looks white and it's sad because it is part ghost type. It is coral that has been bleached by pollution and has died.
Oh, okay.
It's actually very clever. That is what happens to coral when it gets polluted. That's what happens in real life. It gets bleached white
So is it
and it dies.
water ghost?
Ghost.
No.
It's cool, isn't it?
I like that.
That's a Galarian Corsola because apparently Britain has a pollution problem. We do.
Wait, what?
Yep. It's just ghost. It's just ghost. It is actually dead. It has died. The coral has died. It's straight up dead. They're ghosty bits. They're semi-translucent. You can't quite see it on the picture, but those are translucent.
I don't know about pure ghost. I think a more interesting would have been to see like a water ghost. But
So yeah, it's a cool concept, isn't it? Can't fault that.
right now, it's from Galar and yet coughing clears pollution. Yeah, ain't doing its fucking job. Ghost rock, maybe? Yeah, potentially ghost rock, because I suppose coral reef is the actual rock part, not the water part. So yeah. Now, Blue. I don't know if we've spoken about this in the past.
That fish is a gun. Doo 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 doo.
Right.
Why is it a gun? Where's its trigger? Where's its handle? Where's its scope? Which gun does it look like? What exactly does define as gun shaped?
For a start, the beta sprite is the main thing that's made everybody realise, oh shit, it's meant to be a gun. That was somebody in Nintendo came down and went, no, Game Freak, no.
No, someone from Nintendo came down and said, pack up your things, you are leaving.
Yep. Ah, of course, I remember now. I imagine the trivia will have a link to this. So, Remoraid is based off an archerfish, which is a fish that shoots at insects that are above the surface of the water and then eats them. That's what Remoraid is based off of.
Okay.
A little video of it. That's what Remoraid is. It's based off an archfish, real life fish that shoots things.
Right. It changes into that. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Octillery.
Alright. The change that I would apply, because that definitely needs a change. These two are standalones.
Yeah, they don't look like they're related. Remoraid's got a closer connection to Mantine.
Yeah, that to me is standalone. Octillery being just an octopus that
is based off artillery.
You know, sure, fine, okay. Not my favourite fish, water fishy type Pokemon.
Yeah, I believe it's just water type.
You know, I'm okay with Octillery just being its own thing, but the fact that it evolves from that. No, it doesn't. There's no feasible link as to why that should be.
Yes.
How do fish turn to octopus? Correct.
I'm just looking at the reference. So this is right next to the ear, but ever so slightly in front of it. So instead of this square, which I used previously, I want to use this square.
Hello, insurance fraud.
Insurance fraud. Hello.
Right, Delibird. It's too gimmicky.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas Pokemon. Why do you need a Christmas Pokemon? It's Santa Claus. Why? I just don't. I just don't. Shut up, you.
And they made a gimmick move to go with it.
A damn TIE fighter here.
She's like, no, how dare you trash Delibird?
Delibird's my favourite because she brings me cheap treats.
How dare you trash Delibird?
Delibird is like Mr. Mime to me. Yes, it's a gimmick that shouldn't be. Yes, I agree
You
with
want to know what's the worst part about Delibird? Oh, did you?
From on Discord. I did.
Okay.
Even though I'm sat freaking next to you.
Wild. You know what the worst part about Delibird is to me? Is that it is confirmed that that little bundle that it carries is not a bag. That's part of its tail.
Cool, that's even worse.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's the worst part of Delibird. That's not a bag that it picked up. That's its tail.
Right, moving on. We're moving on from this non-Pokemon. Mantine. Cool. Skarmory. Very cool.
Love Skarmory. Skarmory's so good.
Houndour. Like Houndour.
Yep.
I didn't realise Houndour was so far down the list.
Yeah, the problem with Houndour is that a lot of people, I mean, I don't find it forgettable, but I think a lot of people are annoyed with the fact that, like, it was one of the few sort of, like, flagships of the Dark-type Pokemon, and you actually don't get it until the post-game in Gold and Silver.
I always sort of put it on par with Poochyena, but it really isn't then, is it?
No, it's not in the slightest. You basically, you can't do a playthrough of it on your main team. You don't get it until the end of the game.
Kingdra?
I like Kingdra.
Is it Dragon type?
Yes.
Yeah.
It evolves with the Dragon Scale.
Vampy!
Vampy!
Like Vampy.
Yeah, I like Vampy.
Porygon 2. Porygon 2.
I get what it... I think it executes what it's trying to... Ow! Thanks.
You got rebooted.
I think it executes what it was trying to do well.
What is the story behind Porygon and Porygon 2?
So,
Porygon was man-made.
The idea of Porygon is that it's man-made and it's based off computer programming. So Porygon 2 is literally It's almost literally like in my 3D modeling here. If you have a low poly version, and then as technology advances and you can have more polygons, it lets you have something that is smoother and smoother and smoother, which is why it's so rounded and smooth. It is high poly. It's
Okay.
literally Polygon 2 because it's the second iteration,
Alright.
because it's a computer program,
Alright. I'll give it that.
which is why it evolves via the upgrade.
Stantler can go.
Stantler.
Smeagol.
It's
Bit of an odd one,
it's
but
oddball,
I'm
but he's
okay with
fine.
it's again kind of monkey-like.
It's meant to be based off a beagle.
I thought that was a dog.
Yeah, so he's not a monkey, he's meant to be a dog.
I suppose like Gromit. Also, that is a weird picture of a Tyrogue.
That is, yeah, that's not
What
a
is
flat.
he? Is
That's
he
not
playing
a.
American football?
That's not a flattering angle. for Tyro.
322!
He's another baby.
322! Huh! Yeah, we'll get
Hi,
Tyrogue.
Diglett! We're doing Pokemon critique again!
I like Hitmontop as well.
I like Hitmontop.
Shut up, you.
Ow!
This is my turn. I'm
Ow.
the co-host. You're not the co-host. Scratchy's chin.
Oh, chin scratches.
So I'll be back with you in a sec.
More important things are occurring.
Right. Smoochum. I do not. I mean, we don't like Jinx.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
condoning
Jinx, is
a
the
child
problem.
Pokemon that has Smooch in its name. Not about that shit.
I do not consent!
Not consent to that shit. Yeah, so it's kickboxing, boxing, arm wrestling, and that one.
What?
Kickboxing, boxing.
Amateur wrestling and capoeira.
Where does the spinning on your head thing? I thought that was like Brazilian street fighting.
Dance like martial arts style of Brazil.
Oh, yeah, that's that then. That's Eddie Gordo from Tekken 3 then. Mr. Spin to him. There you go. That pose is from American wrestling when it's about grappling. Yeah, it's Eddie Gordo. I always liked Eddie Gordo. So basically, he hasn't learned a fighting style yet. Yeah, that's fair. Elekid, yeah. Magby,
It's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, fine.
I get them because, again, the forms that they evolve into are much larger, so I can understand them. Miltank.
Miltank's a weird one because it's one of those things where it seems like they were literally trying to fill in a niche of like, what are the cows of the Pokemon world? And it's like, I mean, did we need the cows of the Pokemon world? Was that a question we needed answering?
I don't know, I mean, there is Tauros, and eventually someone's going to start asking where milk is coming from, and the longer you leave that question, the weirder it starts to get.
Shall I have banned Moo Moo Milk card?
Is this where someone's sucking on a titty?
Banned Moo Moo Milk card, thank you, Google.
Ow! Don't scratch me. What is going on there? What am I looking at?
So that is based off a thing that farmers have, where if a calf is rejected by its mother, they have like surrogate milk bottle things that kind of resemble a cow's udder that the calf can drink from, and that's a Centret.
Sucking on a titty.
Yep.
Cool. I mean, I guess Miltanks do have to exist. I don't hate Miltank.
We have to cure the cow. We need the berries. No, Moo Moo
Blissey.
is sick.
Is Blissey an evolution of Chansey?
Yes.
Why? What does it add that's different to Chansey?
I don't know. It really is just. I mean, it's a little bit like Porygon 2. It's like it's just Chansey, but more.
You really want your chin scratched. You're rubbing your head into
Very itchy chin. Chin bothering you. Blissey is dense with HP. This is true. They are a brick shithouse.
I suppose it can have a pass. I'm almost tempted to put I guess, because it's like, it's just one of them of like, I don't see that it needs an evolution, but...
It's like, yeah, it's one of those, it's like...
Oh, you're getting vicious. No. Do not scratch the face.
Naughty girl.
Then we come to the boys.
The boys!
Gotta give the boys a pass because, like, the weirdest one out of them I would say would be Suicune, but even still like them.
I like them, yeah. Legendary beasts, like them.
Larvitar, yes. Pupitar.
Pupitar,
Nah.
such a weird middle stage. I mean, I get it because of the name, because it literally has like a lava in the name, but Larvitar doesn't look like a lava. It doesn't look
No.
like a bug,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have the bug type. So it's
I'm
like,
gonna put
so it's
change
like,
for Pupitar.
so it's why?
I think I'm gonna put change for Pupitar. Like as you say, if Larvistar was no arms and legs, I'd understand it more of going from like some sort of caterpillar-like body, but doesn't transition well from A to B. Just don't see it. Like, I look at Pupitar and I'm like, that could just be like another Metapod. But then I look at the other versions and I'm like, there's no way.
Thank you for the 10 bits. Thank you. Yeah, chat agrees with it. I don't know how a caterpillar turns into a dinosaur. So it's not even a caterpillar. It goes caterpillar, pupa, dinosaur. It's not. It's not a caterpillar. It's dinosaur, pupa, dinosaur. Swap Larvitar with Pupitar. I don't know. Even still. I just don't see the connection. Literally, Pupitar doesn't look like it belongs in that line. It's the wrong colour. It's the wrong animal. It's the wrong creature. It just doesn't belong there.
Even the eyes don't really match up. It's just kind of.
It really doesn't match. It needs a total redesign, really. Like, you could, like, it doesn't need deleting because Larvitar to Tyranitar is too big of a jump.
Yeah.
But I think it needs a total redesign.
Yeah.
It needs to be redone from the ground up.
Narrowing that picture just makes it worse. Someone's idea of how it might happen. Well,
You could
someone's
literally remove Pupitar from that picture and it would be better.
wrong. Yeah.
You could remove Pupitar from that picture and it would be better.
Yeah. Nah. What type is Lugia?
Flying Psychic. Because at the time, Psychic was a very powerful type. And they didn't want to make it Dragon. I think it's because of the second movie that people think Lugia should be a water type, which is fair. They literally made an entire movie about how it's the guardian of the seas.
Yeah. I will give the last ones a pass.
Yay!
They can survive.
Lugia's my favourite legendary. I also really love Ho-Oh.
I like Ho-Oh as well.
Ho-Oh's very cool. I love Ho-Oh.
The thing that I wish was more apparent with Ho-Oh, I wish there was more colours on it. It's too predominantly red for my liking for being the rainbow bird.
Yeah, I believe it's literally what it's, it's the rainbow feather.
Yeah, I would like to see all the colours in the spectrum, and then, for the shiny version in the
It's literally
game...
called the rainbow Pokemon.
Yeah, for the shiny version in the game, I would love for it to be black and white.
Yeah, monochrome.
That would just be the ultimate kind of contrast.
That's the shiny. I mean, it's got grey on the tail feathers, but the wings are still golden.
Nah, not enough effort for me on that one.
I like Ho-Oh's shiny, and this is probably not surprising to people. I'm not really a huge fan of Lugia's shiny. I don't think the pink suits it. I don't know what I would have done as an alternate shiny, but I don't think the pink suits it all that well. But again, this is from the era of weird shinies. Honestly, I think just a slight tonal shift. Maybe I think I'd probably like it more if it was purple, but they decided to go the other way and they leaned more into being... That was a very half-assed.
I reckon a darker shade.
Shadow Lugia should be shiny Lugia. Oh, because Shadow Lugia is literally like a inversion. Because Shadow Lugia is black.
I was thinking that, but maybe not quite as grim. Like it's shiny version, not evil version. So, but I do like a darker palette. I think would be good for Shadow Lugia.
Yeah,
for shiny Lugia.
Yeah, Shadow Lugia is literally inverted. It's got a black body and a light chest, as opposed to a white body with a dark chest.
Yeah, I think a darker body, but I don't think you necessarily need to just go down the black route. Look cool, but I don't know if that qualifies for shiny.
Fair enough.
Shiny to me just means special, whereas that is definitely like ultimate edge.
Someone literally did a recolor of a screenshot of Pokemon Go for Shadow Lugia.
And with that, we would be moving on to Gen 3.
Do you want to stop there, or do you want to start on Gen 3, or do you want to just keep it a nice, concise of we've done an entire generation this evening?
I'd say we could just stick to one generation. Does anyone have any queries or things that they're disappointed with?
Yeah, like there's a few things that we did and didn't address. Of like some had alternate evolutions that we didn't look at because they're technically from future generations. So we can go over them if we want.
So we've got like the other Typhlosion, which I said no because I don't really feel like it was justified enough. Favorite fully evolved Pokemon of Gen 2? Ooh, isn't there there's a final form dex?
Yep, the final form dex, because Austin John is a very clever fella.
So Gen 2, what do we got? Meganium, Typhlosion, other Typhlosion, Feraligatr, Thorit, Noctowl, Ledian. Feraligator's definitely up there for me at the moment. Forretress is very cool. I don't know why I like Forretress, but I just do. They're just cool. Kingdra's alright. Actually, not that many. Yeah, I see what you mean about the mainly.
There's actually not there's not a lot of fully evolved in Gen 2. Which is probably why they get so many more later on.
I'd probably be boring and say Feraligatr, but I would like to give an honourable mention to Steelix.
Steelix is pretty
because
tight.
Steelix is just an amazingly terrifying Pokemon.
Dessers, I would ask you to observe the variant Quagsire.
Okay,
It's called Clogsire if you want to Google it. Clodsire, as in a dirt clod.
Clodsire.
He's Googling.
Okay.
So, yeah, very new, so I don't know if there's a huge amount of lore that's known about it other than what's written in the Pokedex. You can read the Pokedex entries if you want.
I don't hate it.
No? You quite like Clodsire? Quite a few people quite like Clodsire.
It's different enough, but you can still see the similarity. No, I don't hate that.
Hey, we got a win!
A 980. Yeah, okay. Okay. Oh my god, what the fuck is
That's Girafarig's evolved form. We're literally, this segment is our new evolved forms. We've got new Quagsire, new Girafarig, new Dunsparce. I'd stop scrolling, honestly, because that's too much to explain. I would stop scrolling. They're not evolutions. It takes too much for me to explain. Those are evolutions. There's Annihilate, which we've talked about. So there's our new evolution segment. Annihilate. You're looking at new... Stop it! You're spoiling yourself for new Pokemon. We haven't done this yet. Cut it out! Yeah!
Oh, I don't like where this is going, guys.
Oh, Spook doesn't like the look of the new generation.
This is why I say Gen 1 forever. Like, oh my days.
Spook has glanced into the future and he doesn't like what he has seen.
Ooh, we're going to move on to Gen 3, and I think Gen 3 to me is the last of the good generations because I didn't play 4. Not enough, I should say. I didn't play 4 enough. I started it, and I might have done like up to the first gym, but then that was when I kind of grew out of Game Boy stuff. So, ooh, we're moving towards dark territories now, guys. I'm going to count on this as to how many I've approved of and disapproved of. And with that, I might call it there.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, the stream's going to end in 10 minutes, so well done for staying up as long as you did, hun, because you said you were knackered.
I really.
You are, yeah, you are. I think you got a bit of energy once we got into it, but obviously you're now very firmly exhausted, I think.
I do like that picture of Slugma because it looks like his face is super squished.
He is molten lava.
I know, but that one just normally his face is quite rounded. There, he looks like he's kind of like, smugly looking, peeking his face
Yeah.
forward.
It looks like one of his eyes is melting off.
No.
The eye that's further away looks like it's literally sort of.
And Mad Cargo is looking up at you as if you've just grabbed the treats box. Oh boy. Oh. Yeah, I'd like it one of the days, Blue, when you don't have a commission. So, like, for these ones where I've put changes to how they look physically, I'd love for you to have a try and draw in them.
Oh.
Go way back up the list, like, where's the first one we come to where I'm like, this needs a design change? It'd be interesting to see what you would put as Diglett's full model. Like if it was on the ground, like on the, not underground, on the ground, what would it look like? I would be interested to see what kind of concept.
Well, as I said on the stream, for me, Diglett doesn't look enough like a mole.
Huh?
So
would you make it more mole?
I would make it look more mole-like. So if there was the above ground version of this, I'd basically just give it a couple of little paws poking out to make it look like it's dug through, and then underneath it would have a little mole body.
Okay. Do you not feel like giving it hands kind of removes the Diglett-esque? Would you not just? I would say just giving it feet would be. But then that also does raise the point: how does it dig?
Yeah.
So maybe its arms could be like much further down, so it doesn't pop them above the surface. You just see
Yeah, they
that.
could be underground. Sure. Yeah, they could be
But
underground.
It could have little hands.
It literally says Diglett, mole Pokemon.
Picture
How is that a
like
mole?
One of your French Diglets. Spook, what's your favourite of Gen 2?
Favorite Gen 2. Mine is Lugia.
Gen 2. Actually, a tougher question than I would have thought. I didn't think I had too much attachment to Gen 2, but there's a few here that I've definitely picked up. So, excluding legendaries, because legendaries are very obvious, of like Raikou looks sick as fuck, Suicune, Entei, I love them. The legendary birds, not as big a fan of Celebi. Tyranitar doesn't do as much for me.
I mean, I think in general you don't go in for the big beefy Pokemon. You're not really a sort of like thonk kind of person.
Hitmontop is cool, but I like Hitmonlee a lot more, so I don't think Hitmontop's on the list. I used to like Swinub and Piloswine simply because they were ice types, but I've gone off them as much now. They're just, you know, they're alright, but...
He doesn't have a Napoleon complex like me.
I do love Steelix.
Steelix is cool.
Steelix looks fucking cool, so he's definitely on the list. Mischievous, probably.
You like
Because they
Mischievous?
were the next cool ghost type. And ghost types are my jam. Mareep, just basic old Mareep. They're just that good. A design. I do love Mareep. Then it would be like Totodile. Yeah, I'd probably go with those ones. So it's either going to be Mischievous, Steelix, Totodile, or Mareep. Let's say Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, yeah. And Hitmontop is based off of Bricktop from Snatch.
No, it's not.
Because he was a fighter in his own right. I'd be interested to see, like, from Gen 3, which ones I'm more upset with than I remember. Yeah, Marshtomp just looks so fucking derpy there. Chin and Mighty and Zigzagoon. Burnpool, Silcoon, Beautifly. I'm remembering all these boys. Ludicolo. Surskit, which is just them things from Mario. Even though I know they're based off a real creature.
On skaters. Still haven't fixed this vertex. These Pokemon streams are very fun, but I can easily say from looking at this is that definitely I didn't get as much work done. Which is why it's probably a good thing that they're only a one-off.
Yeah, I only do it once a month to fill in when more important people aren't here.
No, it's more a case of like, are you free and do you want to do it?
Tuesday's always Curl's night. She was apparently quite tired. She got a lot of work done.
She got a bunch of work done today. Wow!
Okay, we'll come back to this another night. Oh. How much did you actually get done today? Mainly just the head.
Yeah, I mean, I knew today would mostly be the head, because obviously the head is arguably harder than the hands. Huh?
What happened?
Yeah, we've got stray verts here. I'm going to have to address that in a bit. Because the thing about the face is that you've got to keep, like, certain rings available throughout the face. Like, people will have seen me futzing around with the mouth quite a bit of, like, trying to keep these ring shapes in. And, like, this originally came to a point and I changed it to be this square thing. But, you know, there was a lot of fidgeting around of, like, I've got an N-gon here, which is bad. Basically, this is a polygon that has more than 4 sides. You'll notice how all of these are 4-sided, 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 and this is 4-sided, and I've got one in here which is 5-sided, which is bad. I need to get rid of it somehow. But it's like, it's one of those things where I just sort of have to sit and stare at it for a very long time to try to think about it, and often I'll draw on it to be like, I can, you know, slice that, because that makes that a 4, but then I've got a 3 here, and I don't want a 3 either, so it's not that way either. So, things like that. But yes, I did get distracted a lot, so I didn't actually get too much done today, which I feel bad about. So I will try to compensate for that tomorrow, and get a load done tomorrow if I can. Added in his horns. Key part. Very, very basic part. Yeah, I need to get rid of that. I could get rid of this line, but this line is handy. But yeah, you can sign off and head off to bed if you want, love.
Why don't you just split that point into 2 and then halve that?
What do you mean split into 2? This point here?
Yeah.
I mean split into 2.
Oh, I suppose that would make a 5 above, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So if I did that, it makes it a 3.
Into.
Is it? I will be able to work it out because I've done it with the hand and stuff. Also, I've got glitched out verts here that have obviously just been sort of accidentally copped when I've selected something. I will work it out eventually because I've worked it out like here and it's in like the shoulder joints and in our knee joints and stuff.
Might be a case of loading up the kobold and
yeah, because we got this circle that goes around the mouth, which we will want because that helps with the mouth movement.
Yep.
Same with things like the circle around the eye, where it goes around here and around here, and then there's also lines that sort of go around and then down to the jaw as well. This is called topology. I was doing a lot of it yesterday on the hands, and it's very tricky to do, even if you have an image to go off of. there's your topology of having rings around the eyes, rings around the mouth, rings that go around like the nose and the mouth, and one big ring that goes around the entirety of the face. Of course, I'm doing an animal face, which makes it slightly more tricky. Also, finding it very hard to think because all I can think of at the moment is I really gotta go pee. But also, yeah, we need to end the stream. So yeah, I feel a little bad that that I didn't get as much done as I probably should have done.
We had fun.
Oh, definitely, I had a bunch of fun.
And that's more important.
Yeah. See, Voz, that doesn't fix it because that still leaves me with a five-sided shape. And what I'm trying to do is get rid of this five-sided shape, and what you've drawn in there still leaves me with a five-sided shape. Thank you for the suggestion. So an easy way for me to potentially do that would be get rid of this line, but then, you know, that's not necessary. Like, I kind of want to keep the line because it's adding a bit more of a curve to the face. I will address it tomorrow. I'm probably a bit sleepy. Did you add a crash sound effect to Abduct? No, I did not. But anyway, yeah, I'm tired, I need to pee, and it's making me... Can you add a sound effect? It would probably be more effort than it would be worth. I think you can modify them, but it's something that would take me a lot of time to look up. So I honestly would probably just not be asked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. But yeah, I'm tired, I need to pee, which is making it hard to think, and I'm now actually angry at myself because I feel like I didn't get a lot of work done. So
I'm sorry.
Which is, yeah, it's not your fault. Like, I had a really fun time, but I'm a little bit mad that I didn't get more done because...
I mean, you've got time tomorrow.
Yeah, I can keep working on it tomorrow, but yeah, I feel bad that I didn't get more done today, actually. So, yeah, I need to go to bed and clear my head because I can't concentrate. Don't be mad at yourself, we will fight you. Ah, let's not go down that route.
I will fight you.
Ah! I'm gonna go to bed and clear my head, and I will try to do better. I will try to do better tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the support. We had a lot of fun, regardless. I'm very happy that we got to do this because I had a lot of fun the first time, though. So, yeah, I feel bad about my work, but I don't feel bad about doing the Pokemon thing because it is very fun and it gets everybody talking and chatting, which is what we like to do when we are streaming. It doesn't happen very often either. So, yeah, tomorrow I will try to actually do more, and then also, we should have Dragon Age. Keep a pin in that, obviously checking the Discord otherwise. Good night, everybody. Take care. Love you loads. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!
I won't.